I'm going to do an I Ching reading before I do this video. Okay, now I've got the hexagram. So the hexagram is hexagram 36. 3 and 6 is 9. 9 means no. Saying no. Darkening of the light. Okay. Now, if you've got your light and somebody says no, 9, no, it's going to have an effect on you. It says here, the sequence, expansion, you're just growing, expanding, will certainly encounter resistance and injury. Hence there follows a hexagram of darkening of the light. You were growing and now somebody put their foot on you, said no. Darkening of the light means injury. You sustained an injury. Okay. Now, that's just from somebody saying no, right? Now what this video is about is the Diddy trial, and we are now have the verdict. We got the verdict yesterday, and now the world is waiting to see what the sentence might be for Diddy. And there's been a lot of examination, talk and opinion about whether what Diddy did with his partner was consensual or not, and that if it was consensual, it was okay, that the lady did it of her own free will. Okay. Now science, conventional science, thinks there's a thing called free will. In all of my philosophical teachings, I teach there is no free will. Everything is perfect and happening automatically, and there's nothing we can do about it. And we only find ourselves doing these strange things that we do because we have no free will. Now, for some strange reason, God has decided that in this time that we live in, the world will be full of propaganda, yeah, and at the same time, pornography, the 2 P's, right, the 2 P's, propaganda and pornography. One is the lie, and the other is the reality. Now, people like sex workers, they see a lot of sexuality. They have sex with many, many different people in many, many situations. Okay, and because of that, they have a very, very good understanding of the different types of kinky sex and stuff like that, and what can happen to a person. They can find themselves doing this funny kinky sex, right? And the ordinary people in the world, they can't explain it, yeah, they can't explain it. Yet the sex workers understand it, yeah, because they've had a lot of experience with sex. Now, a lot of people are starting to have, even though they're not sex workers, they're starting to have a lot of experience with sex, because they've been watching a lot of pornography, so they can see, all of a sudden they see there's certain patterns of behaviour, right? It's not like everybody's doing something different in a different way. No. There's certain patterns of behaviour, certain sexual archetypes which are universal. Okay? You can find yourself in this position, you can find yourself in that position, you can find yourself doing this stupid thing, you can find yourself in all of these different things, right? And if you're a perfectly divine, wonderful person, and your partner is perfectly divine, wonderful person, and you come together in a moment when you feel like joining sexually together, all right, then it's going to be perfect. There's not going to be any of that sort of weird, kinky stuff going on. Yeah? Because the purpose of the kinky stuff is to heal the couple. Everything happens for a reason. It's to heal the couple. The couple may have an argument or a fight or a disagreement or whatever's happened to the couple since last time they did it. When they come together, now they go through some pantomime that they can't even help, you know. Yeah, why is it always the same position? Why? Why? Because God decrees that that is what you will do, and you cannot help yourself. Cannot help yourself, right? And it's a result of the karma that you incurred in your previous events, behaviour as a couple, which determine the sort of stuff that you end up doing in your next sexual act. Right? I'll take 5. When two people love each other, the love is shared equally, and the two people are free together in love. Okay. Now, if one of the partners says, do this, do that, do this, do that, what happens is, if the other partner does it, obeys them, okay, then they become the slave of the one of the other, right? So they become submissive, right? And the other one becomes dominant, okay? Now, there's another alternative way of doing that, okay? The one partner can say, oh, come on, darling, let's make love. And the other one says, no, I've got a headache. I don't feel like it tonight. Okay. That's the other way. One is done by saying do, do, do. And the other one say don't do, don't do, don't do. Okay. Normally it's the man that does the one and the lady that's the other method, because that's how male and female work. Yet there can be female males and male females, yeah, and so all this stuff can be mixed together. You have the woman that says don't do, do, you know, or even don't do this, don't do that. There's all sorts of ways, okay, but as soon as you get this controlling behaviour where the two minds are not in agreement in the moment, then you have slavery. Okay. Now, as soon as you have slavery, to heal the relationship you need sexuality, and the longer you leave it, the deeper the slavery gets. And the freeing is by the pantomime that the couple goes through when they perform the sex act again. Okay? As long as they go through it to the final conclusion, and the one doesn't say, oh no, I'm not going to do that, and hops off. Now you're still enslaved, okay? So you've got to go through every single act. You can't just stop, yeah? And what those acts will be is determined by how bad the slavery is, okay? Now, each member of the couple is learning their lessons from this process. Yeah? And so the idea is to learn that not to put your partner into slavery by telling them what to do or telling them what not to do. If we all accept that now is the time and we both feel like the thing at the same time, then everything's going to be perfect and happening automatically. And if we do the slavery thing, then everything's going to be perfect and happening automatically too. But it's not going to be nice stuff. Yeah, it's going to be perfect because that is the solution to the problem. Okay. So the kinky sex is the solution to this slavery problem, and that's why you've got all this sadomasochism and all this kind of stuff, because it's various degrees of enslavement, one or the other. Okay. So let's take Diddy. Diddy wanted a kind of kinky sex with his partner Cassie. And she wanted the same thing. Okay, she wanted the same thing. Yet it's not free will. They have no free will over that. Okay, no free will over that. He wants it and she wants it because of something they did as a couple, okay? And it probably started with Diddy. Yeah. Because Diddy said, do this, do that, all this doing stuff. And if you didn't do what Diddy said, he threw things at you, he shouted at you, he fired you, he did all... Just to say no is sufficient to put somebody into slavery. Right? And if somebody says to you, do this, you say, the only thing you can say in that instance is, don't tell me what to do. You just insist, but you can't just ignore them, you can't just... You're a slave then, you're a slave. And so all organisations are enslaving the members of it. That's just a fact. If you realise that, you won't be part of such organisations. And there are very, very few natural organisations that come together naturally and don't enslave their members. Okay. Now, Diddy was a slave nation. Diddy's operation, they even had signs on the wall, Diddy's the king, you know, and stuff like that. And you'll do what Diddy says and all that. Diddy is just like the Donald Trumps of this world. It's the same with Donald Trump. It's the same with all of them. Okay? And it's not just a Diddy problem. It's a worldwide problem. It's a political problem. It's a problem of power. Yeah? And until mankind realizes this, it's just going to keep on voting for the Democrats, voting for the Republicans, creating the new Black Panther Party or the America Party that's not the America First Party. You'll still be trying to do all this stuff. It hasn't realised that the whole act of organising and pushing power into the world is the problem, I'm going to take 5. And then, because my finger went like this, I'm going to do another I Ching reading. Now I noticed when I watched that video back that it's number 280. 2 is a couple number, 8 is a number of transformation. 8 plus 2 is 10. 10 is the number of mastery. And I think that we demonstrated that we finally mastered the subject of Diddy in that video. And that's really the whole of the problem of the couple, the Diddy thing, everything. You can understand everything in that video. We mastered it, okay? That's all. That video is all you need. So let's have a look at what the I Ching has to say next. The blank page, nothing, nothing. And then the creative. That's a wonderful thing. It said both of these, okay. So first we have nothing. There's ceasing of motion. And then there's the creative act. Life springs forth after the stopping, after the pushing down, after the sexuality, after the rest and the stopping. Then we get up. And now we're okay with each other, yeah? Until the next one says, go make me a cup of coffee, dear. Okay. We came full circle, right? So that's the circle of life, from one sexual act to the next, okay? And whatever you end up doing, you have to do. So Cassie ended up having to do all this bad sex because Diddy told her what to do. Diddy became the boss of her, right? And to escape from being bossed about by Diddy, she had to break free. And so Diddy would say, I imagine, I don't know what happened between the two of them, but I could see what will cause it. It's universal. It doesn't matter if it's Diddy, it could be me, it could be you. Yeah? It will happen to you. If you do what Diddy did and you do what Cassie did, it will happen to you. You'll find yourself doing what Diddy did. In the exact same power scenario. Because Diddy probably said, don't you dare go out. Don't you dare go out with any other guy but me, otherwise I'll, you know. Probably said that. Now, the only way Cassie can get out of that is to go and do it. Yeah, to go and do it. And so she'd go out and do that. Yeah. She even made movies about it. Yeah, where she does it, acts it out on the movie, so he can watch the movie. Yeah. Yeah, I imagine she was very subtle and that she controlled Diddy. She controlled Diddy by not doing stuff that he told her to do, okay? And so by doing that, she takes her power back. Now Diddy doesn't know that Cassie's off cuckolding him, right? Cuckolding him now. So how is God going to tell Diddy that he's being cuckolded? Right? Well, sex workers know that certain sexual things will happen in the sex act. He'll be watching her have sex with another guy in his place. He'll be seeing it in front of his eyes. She'll be doing it. She'll be wanting to do it, right? I think we get the picture, yeah? And he'll be wanting to do what he's doing, okay? He'll be making a fool of himself. He's supposed to recognize it and decide this is finish this relationship. Yeah. But she's become the master of him. He's become her slave in this process. And he's just hanging around, yeah. And worse things are happening to him sexually. But he just hangs around because the paradox is that the slave loves their master. I already talked about this. And so Diddy is in love with her. He wants to see her do this with the other man. He's got to see it because God said, oh, look at this, man. She's cuckolding you. Now he's supposed to accuse her of it and, you know, have a big fight with her, which is probably what he did and what they got on the video, you know. And if you find you've been cuckolded, a man can get very, very aggressive. Now, the people say he shouldn't do it, shouldn't do what he does, but it's all perfect and happening automatically. Everybody's getting what they deserve, but it's hard for humanity to understand that. So I'm not going to push that issue You can go into that yourself. You can think about that yourself. There's nothing but justice in the world, yeah. And whatever happens to Diddy Combs, whatever happens to him, will be just. If he goes away for 20 or 30 years, he will deserve that. If he gets away with just a year, he'll deserve that. If he gets released scot-free, he'll deserve that. That's God's judgment on Diddy, you understand? And we all have to accept that. And God's judgment on Cassie, we have to accept that, yeah? She got $20 million, yeah? God gave her $20 million. That's enough to keep her from life. She doesn't have to be the slave of anybody. But you know something? She's already the slave of the guy she cuckolded Diddy with. She's already his slave. I'm going to tell you how that happened, okay? Because I've seen the guy. He's not a good guy, yeah? He's not a good guy. And so what happens is if you've got somebody under your control, right, a man can take her over. If she goes out on her own, out into the world, and some man comes along and starts talking to her. Some of these men are experts at controlling women. They've watched videos on YouTube. They've studied all this stuff about how to get women to do what you want, okay? And even they can use drugs and stuff like that, okay? So it's a very dangerous world we live in. It's not actually, but if we do things, bad things, like we end up with a Diddy for a partner, and now we have to break free of his power and cuckold him, you know, our karma is building up. All sorts of other bad things are going to happen. You're not supposed to behave this way. You're supposed to love each other and not try to take power away from your partner. So anyway, apparently her new partner is she met at the gym. He's a trainer at the gym, right, trainer at the gym. Now a trainer at the gym, these are kind of like male prostitutes, yeah, can be. And what they'll do is, they'll say, do this, stretch your legs out like this. No, not like that, like this. Do this, do that. That's what Diddy was doing to it in the sex act. He was saying, do this, do this. You're not supposed to talk at all during sexuality. Not at all. You're not supposed to open your mouth. Whatever you say in the sexual encounter goes deep, very deep into the subconscious of the other person. The whole subconscious is wide open. And if you say something, that is a crime against the other person. To talk in the sex act, to say, oh, that was nice, or something like that. It's terrible, 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 terrible. It's sacred. The whole thing is sacred. Yeah. And so, if she and they say, do this, do that, do that, he's just making her a complete slave by talking, telling her to do stuff in the sex act. There's no more enslaving thing than that. Yeah, no more. And that's got to be embedded deep into her subconscious. So it's going to be terribly difficult to break free. But what happened was, when it was time to break free, God sent this gym instructor, okay, to be her new partner, because he's even worse than Diddy. She couldn't learn it under Diddy, and so she got to learn it under this new partner. Right? And he's even more telling what to do in an even more subtle way. Okay, and so the same old problems carry on from relationship to relationship as people don't learn their lessons, and their relationship finishes when they've done all they can possibly do. They've been through the motions of this the Punisher fellow over and over and over again, and nothing's changed. So God says, okay, finished, done that, cuckolded, out of here. And she actually got pregnant while she was with Diddy, probably by, we don't know who's the father, but probably by another man, probably by this other guy that she met, that she was cuckold and him Diddy with at the same time. So you can see there's not a very good clean slate on either of them. Neither of them, okay, have a clean slate. And so whatever happens to each of them post this thing is going to be their karma. That's God's judgment on them. And it'll either be good or it'll be bad. Okay. Now, Cassie is going to get the blowback from what she did with the 20 million is a very, very big thing to take somebody for 20 million. Yeah. And he apparently said, make it 10. He was happy to meet her at 10. But she said 20, insisted on it. Or she'd go to the police or something, I don't know what it was. But and so it's apparently the sticking on 20 or the wanting to take it down to 10 which caused the feds to actually make the charge against it. That brought the whole thing to court. So it was Cassie who really forced it into court by refusing to compromise on the 10. So she's saying she's not in agreement. She's not agreeable, you know. Diddy said 10 million. It should have been enough. Okay. And if she'd agreed, say, yeah, okay, 10 million, they would have gone their separate ways and that would have been the end of it. And their lives would be just like they were, except they wouldn't be together. But now, both of them have been dragged through this court procedure. Both of them. And it's going to probably hurt Cassie more than it's going to hurt him. And Cassie's partner is probably going to split and leave her, because that's generally the karma that happens when you do the dirty on somebody. Your next relationship you've got to lose. A moth just landed on the camera. That's enough. I'll leave it. Now, the moth is still there. The moth is a symbol of corruption. And I needed to go to the toilet anyway. And when you need to go to the toilet, that's when you're corrupted inside. Okay, corrupted inside. And you'll notice that you can, just before you go to the toilet, you can get what's called a demonic attack. What happens is, which means you hear strange voices or something like that. Oh hell, I need to go to the toilet, have a pee. Yeah, because what you've done is by allowing your body to fill up with pee, you've actually turned your whole entire system into a corrupted system. It becomes a demonic environment. And so it's a demonic entity will enter you and you'll be aware of that. Oh hell, time to have a pee, go have a pee. Now, that's the experience of somebody who, like myself, who is very, very well experienced at high levels of clairaudience, if you like, spiritual insight. These insights will be triggered by a demonic environment, either inside me, or if I have to go and sleep in some bad place in the world, or if somebody had to walk past the window here who's corrupted with a lot of alcohol or something like that. I know about this because I'm always able to do this, but yet for the past 20 odd years I've been able to be sensitive to these effects in the universe, okay? To master them. Yeah. So, corruption. When everything becomes corrupted, it's time to go. It's time to leave. Okay, the system is finished, and we'll see that we've got that state of affairs in the world now. Everything in the political system is corrupted completely, and so it's time for a new start somehow. And this video is coming out of that new start. There needs to be some new fundamental wisdom in this area of the will, and understanding destiny and providence. What happens to you is just. Not to be complaining, oh, this happened to me, that happened to me, I'm so innocent, I didn't do anything. Yeah? No, you did something. I'm not doing kinky sex. You're the ones doing kinky sex. Find out why. You say to yourself, I like kinky sex. No, you don't like kinky sex. You have to do kinky sex. You don't like kinky sex. You just have to do it. And so God makes you like it. But in the end it's degrading kinky sex. And so and I want to say it's degrading severe kinky sex. Yet small deviations from the norm is normal in relationships, and one should enjoy those, because all they are is they're just fixing the small mistakes we made as a couple, just the small mistakes. It's no big thing like what happened with Diddy and Cassie. That's a big mistake, yeah. And you don't want to be trying to heal that couple. You're going to have the Punisher on you, yeah? Or watching him. That's enough. That's enough. I'm going to leave it at this. This is the end of the Diddy video. We've heard it all. Let's have one more reading of the I Ching. See what the I Ching's final thought is on the matter. Okay, so we've got modesty, and it's a 6 in the 5th place. No boasting of wealth before one's neighbour. It is favourable to attack with force, nothing that would not further. No boasting of wealth before one's neighbour. Equality. It is favourable to attack with force, so this is a forceful video. Nothing that would not further. Everything in this video is furthering the good in this world. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you feel enlightened in the area of sexuality, in the area of understanding the Diddy trial. I hope you feel enlightened about it. I feel enlightened about it. That's me, the little Brian, is listening to Adam Eye of Light do this through my little brain that's been prepared for this message to you guys. To you, to me, to the whole world. I'm enjoying it. I hope you're enjoying it too. Thanks for watching.